Right, good evening. Welcome to the 12 Man Podcast live on YouTube, Facebook, TalkSport, part of the fan network, and all the popular platforms that you listen to your podcasts on. You got me, Steve Jackson. I'm your host for the evening, as usual. You got Mr. John Donovan with us. Evening, JD.
Hello, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad. Are you?
Yeah, good. A little bit tired. Didn't have much sleep before I had to get up for work this morning, but I'll catch up. I'm all right. Just a little bit tired.
It's worth it, though, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Do you know what? I think it's the jumping around that's made me tired, physically tired, rather than anything else.
I know that's the only thing, isn't it? But no, it's absolutely worth it. And two more guests with us. Firstly, he's still on his unbeaten streak. John hasn't curtailed that just yet. Mr. Nick Waits is with us. Even Nick.
I see. All right.
Yeah, good mate. Are you?
Yeah, not so bad. Not so bad. Not as tired as John. We stayed in Birmingham last night, so
No, not too bad. The
a bit
joys of the
easier.
second city, yeah. Not too bad. And finally, back from 10 Downing Street, we've got Jacob Jervis. Even Jacob.
Evening, you okay?
Good, are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
How's wallpaper in number 9 going?
It's not bad. Kicking them out soon.
There you go. We're not political on this show, I promise. Right. So we're going to talk. We'll talk briefly about the draw with Leicester. Kind of a bit of ups and downs on this one. The downs of the midweek draw with Leicester, and then the ups of last night. Obviously, the big win at Birmingham was arguably the best home record in the league and probably in the country in the last couple of seasons as well. I think last night was only their second defeat in 42 games in the league. So I say they've got a formidable home record, which we surpassed. We got through. So yeah, massive win towards hopefully the main target. So, but before we start, are we all right?
Yeah, all good. Thank you. Yeah, good.
Thank you.
Happy days. Right, we'll briefly go through Leicester, JD. Not literally. Don't worry, Jason's not driving this. It's all right. I know he's listening. That's why I said it. But Leicester midweek, we knew it was going to be a tough test. We said that when we spoke last week. They're not the easiest sides to play. I know they're obviously going through the problems at the moment, but they've still got quality operators on the pitch. Bit disappointed with the goal we conceded, but the reaction was really good, and we just couldn't quite get it over the line. It did turn out to be quite a disappointing draw.
Yeah, did like you said, their goal was terrible one to give away. Any one of us four could have been stood in that position and put that ball away. The marking was woeful. But like you said, we come back into it. We were not at our best, and at the end of the night, I think a lot of fans were disappointed with just picking up a point, especially after doing the same on Saturday against Oxford. But I think we spoke last week on the podcast, and we said if we can get 4 points from the Leicester and Birmingham games, we'll be okay. We'll be quite happy, and that's how it turned out. So it was good to see, to see us bounce back. I mean, a lot of people on social media had meltdowns, when we dropped those 4 points, and I think we all would have liked more, but you can't second guess in this division, and you can't take anything for granted. The fact is, we gained a point on some of our the chasing pack, the teams who were snapping at our heels. We gained a point with that on them with that draw with Leicester. So it wasn't too bad. But yeah, disappointment. And anyway, we certainly picked ourselves up as we approached the Birmingham game. I think that's one excellent thing about Kim Hellberg is he doesn't get he doesn't let things phase him. I think he's quite level-headed and he puts things into perspective. And anyway, he prepared them well last night.
He certainly did. That's one thing about Hellberg that I quite enjoy when I listen to him speak, especially in his press conferences and stuff like that. Obviously, having a lot more time to listen to stuff like that. He's very down to earth and just says it as it is. I mean, one comment I'll always go back to it was a couple of weeks ago when he was asked about Sonchi Hansen, and said, the press were trying to dig something, trying to see, if there's anything wrong with the lad or is anything, in the background, why he's not getting as many minutes as we might have thought. And he just said, "There's better players." Simple as that. And I thought that's how honest and open he is. And he was quite open after the game. He just said, we didn't put our chances away. Leicester are a tough team, but we didn't get beat. We just got to dust ourselves off and go again on the next one, which he actually did, didn't he?
Well, that comment about Hansen, I think it was to the point. It was factual, but it wasn't having a go at the player. It was just it was like a gentle reminder to him, in effect, that if you want to play, then you've got to improve. He didn't throw him under the bus. He didn't slate him. He just reminded him that if you want more minutes, you've got to be better.
Exactly, and I've got no problems with that at all. He's not saying he's never going to play for me again. He's not. He's completely out of the picture. He's just a bit of a G up. Pick yourself up, get on with it. You've still got a chance to get back in the squad. Just work, just keep working hard, and hopefully we'll be back in the squad as soon as. So, disappointing draw, but we'll quickly move on because obviously last night was more exciting. It was brilliant. It was brilliant night for the club. So I'll start on that one. I'll stick with you, JD, because I usually say it was it's a good trip down, which I know it was. I'll stick with that. I'll let you obviously not embarrass Jason too much because I know he's listening. Poor lad, he was on the phone to me for half an hour.
No, the journey down was absolutely spot on. I think we got to the cricket club that we've been going to for a few years. We got there about 5:15, and enjoyed it. Pool, food, drinks, all good. Bad pool, I mean the table tennis, not the wet variety. It was all good. Like I said, heading for the ground, and unfortunately there was a little bit of an accident, and one of the windows of the bus was damaged, so the bus couldn't really go any further, due to sort of like operational protocol, I would imagine. So we found ourselves waiting for one of the Delta coaches, which was already at the ground, to come and collect us and take us onto the ground. So we missed the first 15, 18 minutes of the game, but as we were walking through towards the turnstiles, we were aware, that we'd taken the lead. But if you want me to describe that, I can only describe it from what I've seen on highlight reels. So I'll hand over to Nick because he was in there in plenty of time. So yeah, he can tell you how the build-up was.
No, absolutely. I'll pass it to you, because I mean, the goal itself, I thought was absolutely brilliant. The ball over the top was brilliant. We spotted their high line quite quick because they did presses quite far up. I never expected it to be Matt Targett to break that line, but the touch he made, and then I suppose the coolness to slot the ball to the keeper's left-hand side. I mean, well, right-hand side, sorry, his left. Was one of a forward player. It was a brilliant finish.
Yeah, I mean, I heard an interview this morning where he said that the keeper showed him space on that side, and again, we were talking last night that would our forwards have finished those two chances in such a composed way, or would they have slashed at them or whatever, or but they were both clinical, really. And again, it does. The fact that we changed shape, Targett would never have been there in a back four. So again, you've got to say, hats off to whoever came up with the idea. I think as we've already discussed, there were perhaps a few issues at the back. That didn't. Well, I don't think Malanda was particularly comfortable playing in that three. It could have been the position he was playing in that back three. I don't know, but the two wing backs certainly made a big difference. And at the end of the day, they were. Well, certainly Matt Targett was the difference between winning and not winning.
Yeah, I say his finish for the first was absolutely brilliant. Go on, John.
I was just going to say, I noticed on the highlights when I watched them again a couple of times today that when Morris picks the ball up, Conway's facing him, and he's on the same sort of he's on the same line as Targett, and Conway directs Morris to say put the ball there where Matt Targett was. So it's quite a good spot by Conway, to tell Morris where to put the ball. But like you said, once it was over the head of the defender, it was a brilliant first touch, control off the chest, and a great finish. Yeah. So we missed that.
Go on, sorry, carry on.
I was just going to say we missed that live, but I've seen replays of it. And it was a great goal.
Yeah, I think if you compare that, John, with the second half, and it was probably pretty similar when Tommy Conway got a ball over the top and miscontrolled it. I don't think that first touch was what made it.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. But yeah, you both mentioned in there, would our strikers have put that away as coolly as Matt Targett did? I looked straight down and I saw Jacob shaking his head straight away. Were you not convinced that either Conway or Strellick would have put that one away?
Right. We're going off evidence. We've seen them miss this season, haven't we? I mean, again, not to look what we are where we are. There's I don't know how many games there's left. Is there 9 games left, 10 games left, or something? But 11. Conway's going to be the striker to the season's up. I jumped on his back, but he miskicks the ball enough in a game to potentially miss that. So yeah, he could have missed it. But it's a different scenario. We didn't see it, so you've got to back him to put it away. But no, it was a great finish, and it was at an important time in the game because I don't think we started very well, and we didn't. I mean, we'll go on to it later. I don't think the performance was actually great last night. I think we played a lot better and lost games. And in terms of our usual control, I don't think we found that. I don't think. Maybe it was Birmingham's press for the first 10-15 minutes that we just struggled to keep possession. But we've scored a lot of goals from balls over the top this season. It's been quite effective. I mean, for the previous manager and now Hellberg, you think Silver against Southampton. I think it was Brown versus Preston. When that ball has been played over the top, it's been dangerous at times. So again, credit to the manager for going to back 5. Again, previous managers we've had wouldn't adapt and change formations after a little 3-game, rut or whatever you want to call it, even though bloody hell it was 3 games and 2 of them were draws. But that's a rut, isn't it, these days? Because when it gets to the end of the season, you've got to win. But it was good to see it back 5, and again, it shows we've got another avenue to our game. We in other games we've had 60 and 70% possession, and last night we only needed 40, and we got the win. So I'm happy with that.
Is that the first time we've had less than 50% under Hellberg?
Probably so.
Yeah.
Probably must be, because obviously most games we've had. Again, we played a back 5 earlier in the season with Edwards, and that was probably more of an Edwards style game. That would have been probably the amount of possession we'd have had there with Edwards. But no, it shows at least he's not being stubborn, and he's using. It did work at the beginning of the season, so it's always there as an option, that 5 back, and we look pretty solid in that. So it's a good option for us.
I think Birmingham dominated the stats, didn't they? You know, like you say, Nick, it's normally us that make the most forward passes, make the most total passes, and make the most volleys into the box, possession as well. But that wasn't the case last night. Yet we still won fairly comfortably, so it was pleasing.
Jacob said that it wasn't an outstanding performance, was it? It was, you know, at the end of the day, it's all about results.
Yeah, and we'll definitely mention that a little bit later, because obviously there's been a few comments come out from the other side of things from Birmingham. Obviously, their fans obviously took to social media and commented on how we played, and it was quite surprising what they said. But you're absolutely right when you look at the stats. To say they had more shots, they had more shots on target, more possession. The only stat we were up in really was clear cut chances. We made more of them, and that's why we won the game. We had the clear cut chances, and we put the ball in the back of the net. But
we only had 3 shots on target, I think, according to the stats that I saw.
Yeah, exactly that. And that's all that matters. I say I can take that every day of the week. If you could put the ball in the back of the net with your shots on target, you're always gonna have at least half a chance of getting the points on the board. So no, you can't really argue with that. And obviously, I'll come to you, JD, for the second goal, because I imagine you probably saw this one. Obviously, a bit of a mishap at the back. Yeah, you were there. Bit of a mishap at the back for the second one by Birmingham. Obviously, they made a bit of a mess with it, but Hackney played the ball to the side. There was Targett again, as the clinical finisher that he is now, to put the ball in the back of the net. Obviously, haunting Birmingham as a former Villa player.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of luck that we got, because obviously I think Hackney initially with the header tried to find Conway, but it come back up the defender, and Hackney put it into Matt Targett, who amazingly was probably one of the most forward butter players in that move. And yeah, he put it away coolly, comfortably, and then done the knee slide to the Birmingham fans and wound them up a bit. But yeah, that put us all in the stand in absolute dreamland. You know, it was a cracking atmosphere all game. And you know, to have that cushion at the second goal, to go into half time 2-0 up was superb, absolutely brilliant. So yeah, like I say, I've got a little bit of luck, but you know, we haven't had that amount of good luck this season. So yeah, we'll take it.
Exactly, and it always seems to happen that the teams at the top do get a little bit more luck than others. You know, it always is the case. But I mean, look at Coventry on Saturday. I mean, you know, for whatever reason, the storekeeper thought it was okay to start running out his goal 40 yards out, and made the right mess of it in the 94th minute. Even when Rodoni put the ball in the back of the net, that was still deflected, and went in. You know, he still had a bit of luck there. So, you know, it buys from a bit of luck every now and then, and you know, you absolutely take it. And you say going to half time 2-0 up, and you think, right, come out, have your 10 minutes, you know, just control the ball, take the life out of the game. Unfortunately, Jacob, we didn't do that. Birmingham came out and absolutely hit us at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and they got the goal really early in the second half, and all of a sudden the crowd's back up. The goal difference is down to 2-1, and they're back on us again.
Yeah, I mean, well, worst time to concede, isn't it? You know, that I'm sure the message was get through the first 10, 15 minutes without conceding a goal. And obviously we didn't do that. I think the issue from that goal, when I watched it, I felt we rushed to clear the ball, but into not a very good area. So I think Conway was far too deep. He should have been in the channel at first, and Targett should have been higher up. So he was the one playing the ball. So at first Conway was too deep to get onto the ball that was eventually played down the line. But again, Targett miscued it to one of their players. Hackney had jumped on one, so he was further up the pitch than he should have been in terms of where Birmingham were once they got the ball. Morris went with one, but it obviously they had a +1 in that zone of the pitch. So They had a free man on the edge of the box, and to be fair, the lad did well to find that pass in the space, and the lad did well to hit the target. I think a top goalkeeper saves it. It's not one that you say is necessarily a howler or a mistake. I think a Premier League goalkeeper probably keeps that out. And he was close to it, but the issue was the free man on the edge of the box and giving the ball away, really. So yeah, disappointing, but obviously it ended up being okay in the end.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think that was the most frustrating thing for me as well, John. Obviously, I just wanted to keep it nice and compact for the first 10 minutes, just to ride the stock, because they're obviously going to be up for it when they came out the second half. Chris Davies would have got into the players and said, "Come on, let's have a bit more of a goal." And obviously they got that early goal in the second half. I was just like Jacob said, no one picked up Max Dersh at the edge of the box, and I mean, I'm at the opposite with Jay. I thought Bryn did quite well to get down to it. It was unlucky to keep it out, but it's just the worst time to concede the first 5 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, I mean, we've done the opposite, didn't we, at Stoke earlier in the season, where we scored after being 1-0 down. We scored shortly after the restart, and that really lifted our fans. It lifted the team, and as you know, we went on to win that game. So to let Birmingham back into it at 2-1, which got the crowd on side, and it created a few edgy moments. But thankfully we managed to withhold the next spell of pressure, but it wasn't the ideal start of the half.
No, and yeah, I was just really disappointed, and you could feel the life, especially in their fans, Nick. You just felt their fans started to lift it a little bit, especially for them first 10, 15 minutes. They felt they were right back in the game when it was so avoidable. It really was.
Yeah, it was one of those, wasn't it? That I mean, I think both halves. So again, we'll come on to the third goal in a minute, but both halves. When we scored it almost the tap turned off with their confidence and with their fans and with their team. I mean, we went 1-0 up, and in that first 15 minutes they were all over us. It was massively against the run of play that we scored, but we scored, and that was the end of them for the first half.
Yeah.
And similarly, second half, they came out all guns blazing. They got the goal. And there was some dodgy moments, and then we got that third, which and again that the game just turned on its head again.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And say the first half was exactly the same. Go on, Tom.
Yeah, I was just about to say that 2-1. The goal scorer had another shot that I thought Solbrin done well to get to and push round, because it was awkward for him. It was low. It bounced just in front of him. He done well to turn it round, but that would have been a nightmare situation if they'd have equalised there with their fans. They would have been well on top. But yeah, we weathered the storm, and we regained our 2-goal advantage on the hour, which like Nick's just said there, you could see the Birmingham crowd, the Birmingham players, they were back into it for a short spell, but as soon as we scored the third, yeah, they just fizzled out. There weren't much of a threat after we got our third.
No, you're absolutely right. It was we did weather the storm. We got through it, and I say the third goal was perfectly timed as well. I say we put a little bit of pressure on, and yeah, the goal was brilliant, Jacob. The ball in from Ayling, brilliant. As I say, he wouldn't have been in that position for me if we didn't play a back three. You wouldn't really have a second of two centre halves there in that sort of position. If we just one four at the back, but the header from Strelec, I mean, I've been singing the boys' praises. There's a lot of people saying he hasn't quite cut it. He's not settled. He's not right for us. He's it's clear there's something there because that header was absolutely pinpoint perfect. Unsavable for me because it was in a position where the keeper couldn't get down to it, couldn't get across to it, and as soon as it left his head, you could see from the camera point of view, and I suppose the away fans' point of view because obviously that they're bang on line with it as well. It was flying off the post into the bottom corner.
Yeah, it was a great header. Again, in important moments, I think we scored at good times and took the life out of them. I think the way it summed up the game is they probably had the first 15 minutes of both halves and then not a lot in between. But no, big goal. To make it 3-1 with half an hour play, it gives you something to sit back on, and it makes it difficult for them. I mean, I think their atmosphere was probably, toxic's the wrong word. It wasn't that bad, but I don't think it was fantastic. When they were going through difficult moments, I think the Birmingham fans are becoming quite frustrated with their short goal kicks and ball retention was quite poor, and I think there was growing frustration at that. And the young goalkeeper had a bit of a difficult night. So again, I think we played on that frustration quite well in the end and managed the game quite well. But great header, and like I said a couple of weeks ago, Strelec for the money he was signed hasn't got the return that we'd expect or he'd have wanted so far. But he's had less opportunities than some of the other strikers, and now he's got 11 games to go and get the club promoted, which is probably what he was brought in to do. So if he can get 5 goals between now and the end of the season, which gets the team up, then he was worth 6 or 7 million quid, wherever he was. If he doesn't, then he wasn't worth it so far, but we'll see.
There you go. There's positive optimism for you. He was either worth it or he wasn't. But no, it was. You're absolutely right. He's brought in to score the goals. It was a big goal last night. I'll tell you one thing. I'll go back to the goal in a minute. Obviously, when the first half, when they were getting on the keeper's back a little bit, Jacob won't get this. Used to will. I just saw the keeper's surname, Beadle, and I thought, the amount of mishaps he had trying to get the ball out, playing it nice and cool. I thought, he's just give him a big, massive camera. He might as well have done that because he had a shocker in that first half of Pool, and he came out with a corker of a bruise on his eye when the defender collided him as well. But Jacob won't get that. Younger people generation won't get that, but used to definitely will. The third goal, John, pretty much took the life out of their fans. I thought their fans died down after that. We took control of the game. I didn't really see the threat from Birmingham after that. I say we wrestled back the control and sought out for a massively important 3 points on the road yet again against a really strong home team.
Yeah, I was disappointed with their crowd actually. Considering they got such a fantastic home record over a span of 40 odd games, you would have thought that they would have been a bit more behind the team, especially when they needed the points to get themselves closer towards the playoff spots. But they only came to life for the first 5 to 10 minutes, like you said. And now because I wasn't in the ground at that time, I'm going on the highlights. And then when they scored, they had a brief spell when they scored, but by and large, it was a poor home crowd. But the third goal, I thought, just before then, I thought Malander had a great chance. The ball fell to him, and he had a shot from sort of just inside the 18-yard box, and I thought that he could have done better, but it took a deflection. It went out for a corner, and from that corner, the ball goes out to Ayling, and he puts in a brilliant cross, a really good cross that the defender missed. But Strelec, it wasn't lucky. He didn't just fling his head at it. that was a cushion controlled header. And from my viewpoint in the stand, I thought it seemed to take forever to go in. It obviously didn't, but it. I almost jumped up in slow motion. It just seemed to take ages to sort of hit the post, obviously, and then roll in over the line. And it just created bedlam in the away end. It was absolutely superb. Like you said, the fans were great all night. But that restoring of that 2-goal cushion with that great goal just sent everybody crazy. I mean, that under 21 striker we've got, that Strelec lad, he's a good finisher.
Yeah, he's not too bad, is he, that Strelec lad? Great finish. It's a great time to score it, great 3 points. And a word for the fans, Nick. Obviously, a Monday night in Birmingham, it's not the easiest to get to. Especially because getting back is quite a pain, especially getting as far up north. Obviously, you stayed in Birmingham last night as well. But sold out again. I rave about our fans all the time, and they don't get the credit they deserve, but we really do have one of the best sets of fans in the league, don't we?
Yeah, I think so, Steve. I mean, these away games on a night matches are challenging for everybody, aren't they? And typically they are the ones that are the least, the least numbers that we normally take. But this year they just seem to be continuing. And again, when we play the London games, I've noticed this year there's a lot more people this year from Teesside, probably at the London games, than probably there was in previous years, where there used to be a lot more Middlesbrough supporters South type people. And people working down there, whereas this season there just seems to be an appetite for it. That and then you've got the Blackburn game, and how those tickets went, and it's there's no doubt about it. It's the feel good factor, isn't it? And everybody wants to be there, and realistically, it's the first time in 3 or 4 years that we've had a it's probably since Carrick's first season that we've had what we felt was a good chance. But success builds success and builds positivity and creates crowds. And we go back again to the talk about season ticket prices, walk-up prices, etc., etc. The only thing that will sell grounds out is what happens on that grass, not what the price of the ticket is.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's the thing. People keep saying, well, it's it costs this much and this much to go. The thing is, we can't get away from not charging them prices. I'm not defending the prices at all. I'm not saying, pay it, get on with it. Yes, it is an expensive ticket, but like you said, if you're wanting to watch your football club, win football games, look at the crowds that we're expecting. I mean, I say Good Friday against Millwall, that'll be sold out. Absolutely will be sold out. I say Millwall will sell their allocation out. We'll just about sell out. Every game for the rest of the season, it's going to be sold out. QPR sold out away. Blackburn, nearly 7,500 going to be behind that goal, which is unbelievable. I mean, Blackburn are even selling hospitality packages to away fans now, sitting in boxes behind the goal. It shows how popular it's become to get tickets. And, such are the days where, we went to places like Cardiff and the like, and we had 400 people going. It's not the case anymore. Following Borough, John, has become quite a popular hobby.
Yeah, but like Nick says, when a team's doing well, you can always get extra fans there. But yeah, I mean, I've noticed there's more and more individuals organising coach travel to the game, which makes it easier for fans. It takes that sort of responsibility of driving down, parking up. You can go on a coach, you can relax, you can drink, or you can't drink. It's entirely up to you what you want to do. But yeah, and the number of coaches obviously is because of our success so far this season. So long may it continue. But I mean, to sell 7,400 tickets for a 12:30 televised game. I know Blackburn is only a couple of hours away, but even so, 7,500, 7,400 rather, is absolutely phenomenal support. It's brilliant, and I just hope that the support was as good as it was last night at Blackburn, because last night was honestly non-stop, start to finish, different sort of like pockets of singers at the back of the stand, sort of kicking off songs and then continuing, and it just seemed non-stop. Even when we conceded just after half time, it didn't stop. It was absolutely superb. I loved being a part of it last night. Really did. It was brilliant. Obviously the win, but just everybody there, from young lads, teenagers, lads in their 20s, lads in their 50s, all together singing for their team to do well. It was brilliant. I really enjoyed last night.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I miss doing my away games, but last night I really did miss it. I thought that's the type of way, and I'd love to be a part of. I'd love to be at the back of that and singing my heart out for them lads, because yeah, it was a brilliant atmosphere. Yeah, superb win, and one that Birmingham fans as well. Obviously, they've commented and said, we were probably the best team they've played at St Andrews all season, which I see as a bigger compliment, because I didn't think we were great last night. I thought there was parts of our game where we just weren't at times we were really stable and comfortable and looked good, but there was more times than not that we just looked a bit shaky, and players like Malanda was doing a few mistakes that wasn't quite his normal game, and there's a few passes from the middle of the park from Morris and Hackney weren't quite going right, and it wasn't our normal game, but yet we've still got opposition fans saying, you know what, they're a good team then, and they're probably one of the best teams we've played this season, if not the best. And they probably do deserve to go up with Coventry, and I saw that as a massive, massive compliment. So
it is. It is, and it's good to hear. But do you know what? Season's still got plenty of time to run. 11 more games, 11 massive games. The plaudits are nice, but they don't mean anything unless we achieve our ultimate goal, and find ourselves promoted to the Premier League, which is what we all want.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely fine. You're absolutely spot on with that. I completely agree with what you say. Just before I ask you for you all three as man of the matches, I've got two comments. I'll read the second one out a little bit later when we discuss QPR. This one's to you, John. It's from Jason. I can't apologise enough for the accident, so you missed the goal.
No, I spoke to Jason loads last night, and I rang him again this morning. The poor lad was distraught. That's all it was. It was an accident. There was no fault really, but yeah, he had a proud record of making sure that we got to every game on time, and because of that last night, it tarnished that record. But the way that the buses from Delta looked after us last night, because there were several buses from Delta, and they all sort of rallied round, worked together to get us to St Andrews, and then eventually, we got home when a replacement bus was brought down to get us all home, because we sort of like split up into spare seats that were on the other Delta coaches, travelling home, and then we met up with the replacement bus, and then we all got back on the replacement bus. If that makes sense, if that sounds okay. But like I said, Jason and the other drivers from Delta and the company itself were fantastic. It was a difficult situation, but it was minimal fuss from everybody. Yeah, we missed a little bit of the game, but yeah, everybody was safe. Everybody was happy. We were fine.
Were you at the game, John?
Jason,
Were you at the FA Cup game, the quarter final when Bob Hatter scored? Were you at that game? Did you go back that far?
no, I was too young then. When was that? 73.
73, 74. Yeah, we were on a coach that day, Beeline, I think it was, and we were sort of heading towards the stadium, and we got a brick thrown through the window. So we drove home in those days with a window with sort of a hole in it, you know. Times have changed.
Yeah. I was going to say I can imagine that was like standard, if you know what I mean, in the 70s. But yeah, nowadays it's a little bit more health and safety and
yeah.
But Delta done everything they could, and like I said, the disruption was minimal. Everybody done well.
Exactly, that's the most important bit. Everyone was fine, everyone was okay. So I think that was a long way of saying, Jason, apologies accepted, so you're fine. Right. Man of the match. Right, Jacob, I'll come to you. Man of the match from last night.
It's got to be Matt Targett for me. Who's the difference?
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty unanimous, this one. Nick?
You know what? I'm gonna say Dale Fry. I just thought, yeah, you've almost got to give it to Matt Targett, but I don't think Dale Fry missed a challenge all night. And there was a guy next to me, whether he was a friend of Dale Fry's, whether he wasn't a friend. Every time Dale Fry went for the ball, he would say something, and every time he actually did what Dale Fry did, what the lad said he was going to do. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm going to give it to Dale Fry just to be different.
John?
You're not being different, Nick. He was my choice. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. He won every challenge in the air. He was absolutely superb, and I feel a bit aggrieved that I haven't given it to Matt Targett, but he picked it up from Sky. He got their man of the match. Jacob's given him his man of the match accolade, so yeah. I'll stick with Dale Fry. I said it last night, and nothing's changed my mind.
I'll even it up. I'll say Matt Targett. I thought he was brilliant all night. I thought he was really good. And so the two finishes brilliant as well. So yeah, all around good performance, and a really good night for the Borough. Really good night, which sets us 11 games left. Before I start talking about game number 36, just want to go back to Blackburn, John. Obviously, we put out as a fan group a little something for Blackburn. Get a scarf, basically. If you're going to Blackburn, get a scarf, borrow one, say it on the down low, nick one. Just take a scarf and make that whole stand behind the goal as red as possible.
Yeah, I mean, when it was confirmed, I think yesterday it was that the tickets had sold out. You just think that full end, upper and lower tier, full of butter. If we could take a scarf or wear red, and it just, that must be absolutely so inspiring for the players. And like I said, we take scarves, and we've all seen pictures from the past of the whole gate with scarves held aloft, or the famous one at Wolves when we gained promotion to Premier League with scarves. Virtually everybody was holding one up. It looks absolutely fantastic. So yeah, we just put out a message just saying either wear red or take a scarf or do both, whatever, if you wish to. And I just think it'll create a wall of red, and I think it'll look fantastic.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It will look fantastic. I say we did it a few years ago, last game of the season at Preston. They say how good that looked behind the goal. They say that looked fantastic behind the goal. I remember 2014 going to Yeovil and doing it behind the goal, and having the goal behind the goal was red, wasn't it? That was that was quite good. That was a long day as well. Yeah, that was a long day. Yeah, it'll look absolutely brilliant. They say if you can, wear red, wear a scarf, create that red wall behind the goal. It's going to look fantastic. It really is. And on the telly as well. I'm sure I'm sure Don Gunban will absolutely love that. Being a massive avid Middlesbrough fan that he is. It'll look brilliant. It'll look absolutely brilliant. And if get yourself to the club shop, whatever you need to do, go to Primark, just buy some red, and just help paint that wall. It's going to look brilliant.
I believe the club shop will take. They're going to take delivery of some fantastic new scarves for sale soon. So yeah.
No, so I've heard.
With the 12-man blazoned across it, and on the other side, the Ayson Park gates. So yeah, you can get a fantastic range of scarves from the club shop.
We've got no shame, have we? We've got no shame.
Yes.
There you go. If you want to advertise your products, just get in touch with us. We'll do it for you. No, you're absolutely right. It's going to be a hell of a day. But that's in the future. That's to come. Game 36 is QPR away. Sky didn't have a Premier League game to put at 4:30 on the Sunday, so they thought, you know what, we'll put Borough away at QPR. As you would. But the question that came in on the comments, I'll ask all three of you because we've all mentioned it kind of like separately and stuff like that, but we haven't mentioned it as a collective. How many more wins do you guys think we need out of the 11 to guarantee a top 2 spot? Right, we've got 11 games left. I want a one-word answer out of you. I know that's half you, John, so I'll come to you last. Jacob, I'll start with you. How many wins out of 11 do you think we need to guarantee that top 2?
How many points have we got now?
66.
66. So I reckon it'd be 87. We need 87 points. So 21 points. So we don't need to win 7. We could obviously draw some, but 21 points, I'll tell you.
There you go, 21 points. So seven wins, basically. I know we don't have to win 7, but 7 wins. Okay, Nick, come to you.
I was going to say exactly the same as Jacob there. If we could get to 90, it would be fantastic. But who knows where Ipswich are gonna do. I mean, I just looked there; it's still 0-0. But Ipswich have got a very strong squad, and if they do get on a roll, they could steamroll an awful lot of teams, certainly at home. But yeah, if we can win 7 games, and pick up another couple of points in draws, but even if we got 6 and 3 draws, would probably just about be there.
There you go, John.
7.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry.
Well, yeah, I'd agree with that.
That was for Dally.
I knew as soon as you said it. Yeah, I'd agree with that. 87 points, I think we'll get us top 2 now. Which is achievable. 6 home games, 5 away games. Game 36 is QPR away, another sold out away end. Another test, John, against a tough team. I know not in the greatest form in the world, but it's still a tough test. It's a compact stadium, Loftus Road. They've had good spells at home this season, and it's still going to provide a tough test for the lads to get over the line. Because the light's on us. Everybody's watching us now.
Yeah, that's it, and it's how we handle the pressure. I think overall we can confidently say that we have the better squad of players, but it's how they perform on the day. It's a little bits of luck that you might or might not get, and the refereeing decisions to go for you or against you. So yeah, there's a lot of factors to take into consideration. But it's a game that I think that we can go there with a fair bit of confidence of coming away with 3 points.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. And I mean, the comments are coming there saying, they're excited for the running, and they've got every reason to be excited. But what's your feeling going down to QPR on Sunday, Nick? Obviously, keep your streak up.
It's one of those that, thanks to Sky and thanks to Network Rail or whoever it is in charge of engineering works on the lines, Darlington Station's closed all weekend. So we're driving down. Well, we were going to drive down to York, but we've ended up driving down to Doncaster because it was almost as easy. So we're driving down to Doncaster and then picking a train up from Doncaster. But we have got a good record at QPR. It's the first time in quite a lot of years that I've normally been lucky with the restaurant tickets that Aria have in the restaurant there, because they QPR are an Aria club. But this year, for whatever reason, some customer wanted them, so we've been bummed out. So we'll be behind the goal, which again, it's a few years since I've been behind the goal. But yeah, we've got nothing to fear really. But everything is fine margins in this league, and we've seen it so many times that if we're not at it, or the luck goes against us, it could be anything, couldn't it?
We have that disadvantage also of playing last, and I just think that can put undue pressure on us. I mean, it certainly did against Birmingham. Well, sorry, I felt sort of nervous about the game after last Saturday's results when every man and his dog won. I felt under extreme sort of pressure going into the Birmingham game, and again we've got the same scenario with playing last against QPR. But Kim Hellberg has a way of calming things down and handling the pressure and taking the heat off the players. So yeah, that's why I'm confident that we can win at Loftus Road or Madrid Stadium or whatever it's called now, Kian Prince Stadium. I'm not sure, but I'm quite confident we can come away with 3 points.
I wonder if there's ever been a situation or a case, another example, where all the 9 top teams in the league all won. I bet that's never happened, because inevitably a lot of the times we're playing against each other. But when you get the top 9 teams all won in it on a weekend, it must be unheard of.
A hell of a knacker.
Yeah.
Well, it showed the table after the game last night. Obviously, they have the little results next to each team, don't they, for how they've done it the weekend. And the whole bottom half, apart from, I think, 2 teams, was red, was defeated. Yeah. I think one of them wins was obviously Oxford, and they beat West Brom. So, it shows how dominant the top half teams were.
Well, there was 9. The top 9 all won, Steve, and then the 10th team was Bristol City, who played West Brom, played Watford. Obviously, they both couldn't win. So, it was as many as you could ever get, really. And the chances of having 9 out of the top 12 playing 9 out of the 12 bottom teams is probably pretty remote in any event. Yeah,
and it was. Obviously, Sky loved it. Obviously, they played it. Obviously, the pack are all closing in. They've all won. Pressure's on Borough. Don Goodwin was being sat there, rubbing his hands together, thinking, "Right, here we go. Time for them to bottle it. Here we are." But we got through it. We got through it.
You said, John, it puts pressure on, but it would be nice, wouldn't it, if it went the other way and the results for Coventry and Ipswich and Hull went negative, and then and then. Is the pressure on, or is it a case of, well, it's an opportunity that is there?
Well, yeah, it becomes a free hit, but there is the pressure of taking advantage of that free hit, isn't
it? Yeah.
I actually feel the pressure's more on you if the other teams around you get, because everyone's more expectant of you to get the win. Everybody's like, well, they'll now win now to close the gap, or increase the gap. Everybody's expecting you to win, and I think the pressure's even more on you because it's because of the expectancy. But
it will be interesting because I think there's a massive difference there, isn't there, between what the fans think And I think Halberg alluded to that the other day when he was talking about people being nervous and fans are nervous because that's what they are. And do the players genuinely feel as if was any extra pressure on them last night? I don't think there probably was, because at the end of the day, you know, they're playing for their career, they're playing for, you know, whatever. But still, at the end of the day, it's another game to them. It doesn't mean, you know, does it mean the same to Middlesbrough players as it means to John, for example? I don't know. I don't think some of them will lose as much sleep as John would after a poor result.
No, I think they'll be quite comfy in their luxurious beds. Don't worry about that. But no, you're absolutely right. It's I thought Helberg spoke well about that as well when he was asked about it, because he basically said if you don't like the pressure or can't handle the pressure, you shouldn't be in this position. You know, that's why I'm in this position. You know, I've got to take the pressure. I've got to handle it. I've got to deal with it. And he just said it so calmly. He's just like, yeah. You know, that.
Well, the thing is,
it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way.
No.
I've gone into games where I've been fine, you know, no sort of nervousness or out like that. I was nervous for last night's game, but other games, Coventry away, I was surprisingly sort of calm over proceedings, but you know. Yeah, as the season gets sort of closer to its finale, it'll probably build up on me, you know, and yeah, it'll take its toll, I would imagine. But I wouldn't have it any other way, because it means it was so close.
Drink though, John, as well.
I'm sorry.
Could you imagine if you hadn't had a drink?
No. It's the drink that calms me down. I'd be wreck if I wasn't to have a calming drink.
You don't drink, do you?
One or two.
So no, that's why we keep saying it. That's why you love these kind of seasons. You want to be part of this kind of battle. And yes, when obviously I alluded a few minutes ago and says 11 games to go. When it starts getting down to single digits, that's when you start to feel it, and the eyes of everyone becomes more apparent on you, and the players will feel that. But like you say, they're all playing for their careers, for what their aims are to get into the Premier League, and bring it on. It's, you know, if you thrive in this pressure, then you know you've got it, and you'd be absolutely fine. It's just not the time to crack, is it? You know, but you've got fans behind you completely. You know, sold out away ends, home ends are getting close to selling out now. They say more and more people are attracted to come and watch the Borough now because of how well we've done this season. Yeah, it's gonna be it's another huge game, and they're just gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, every week that we speak about them. And you know what?
The other thing that I think is a strange one to think about is if you are a player and you're playing for Middlesbrough at the moment, you know, realistically, the majority of those players, if we go up, will not be playing regular football next season. Certainly at Middlesbrough, they'll either be sold or they'll be squad players, and that must be a hard thing to sort of get your head around as well. I think.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, you look at some of the players who took Sunderland up. They were moved on, or they haven't played any part in the Premiership campaign. So yes, are you? Are you virtually sort of ending your Borough career if you were to get the team promoted? So yes, it is a difficult one, but you know, I'm hoping that professional pride and a bloody big bonus at the end of it will entice them to give the best every game.
Absolutely, and And the thing is, it can push you on as well, because that gives them the incentive to say, you know what, prove that you are good enough for the Premier League. Prove you can stick in the Premier League. But you are right. You could end up like Sunderland.
And if you get up and Middlesbrough decide that they want to move you on, at least you've proved that you're a promotion-winning championship player. So plenty of clubs will come calling for you. So yeah, it's not as if they're going to be tossed on the scrap heap.
Exactly. As I say, the prime example is Sunderland, isn't it? The amount of players they bought in the summer. I know everybody looks at what Nottingham Forest did when they got up and they purchased 500,000 players, I think. But the top scorer for Sunderland last season was Wilson Isidore, and he doesn't get a game. He's always on the bench now, and that's a prime example. He scored nearly 20 goals in the Championship last year. He can't get on the pitch. So, yeah, it is a double-edged sword, but you still get to say that you got promoted to the Premier League at the end of it. So that's the main prize, and like you say, a big bonus in your back pocket is going to be nice, isn't it? So, without further ado, prediction time. Jacob, I'll start with you. Prediction time.
I'm going to say 1-0 Borough. Callum Britton.
Wow. Callum Britton. Okay, fair enough. Nick, come to you.
You've got to keep with the positivity, haven't you? I'm going to go 2-0 Hayden Hackney.
Fair enough. John, come to you.
Well, 3-0 for me, and I'll go for Raleigh Madrid.
So this is all set up for me to say 4-0, and I'm not going to do that.
I was going to say, if they score in the first minute, we're all down, aren't we?
Yeah. 3-1. I do think they will score, but I think it'll be 3-1 again. And Dale Fry. A defender seems to score at QPR. I remember George Friend's rocket from a few years ago.
Malander must be due. Malander must be due a goal.
Yeah. He's definitely due a goal. I say he's had a few chances in the past few games. So, but I'll stick with Dale Fry. But if you want a side bet, have a look at Malander anytime goal scorer. There's one for you.
Didn't Ben Gibson also score? Do you know from that
promotion season?
From the corner after the penalty save.
No. Gaston scored that header, but he did score from a corner about 10 minutes later. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Okay.
I know my memory's brilliant. I know, but yeah, I think every person on the way home from that game who stopped at anywhere had a camera in front of him doing that. Yeah, I think even I did that. I probably got a picture of me doing that somewhere. Yeah, wow, good memories. But there we go. We've all predicted a win again. Pretty popular. But
you'll all be happy so far.
You'll all be happy to hear we are back next Monday. We don't like these Tuesday podcasts, but we're back next Monday. Gentlemen, thank you so much for popping on. Safe travels to the capital if you're going on Sunday. Please keep a bus intact if you are travelling down by that form of transport. And to you people for listening, liking, commenting, subscribing, getting involved in contacting us. Yeah, thank you so much. We'll be back in touch next Monday. Back in touch. Yeah, we'll be back next Monday. I know I sound like I'm going away and I'm not. But yes, we'll be back next Monday, normal time, 7:00. Or if you listen to us during the night to get you to sleep, it's not live. But yeah.